Okay, so recently Ian Flynn, he came out about his intentions with Sonic Frontier's story, specifically Amy's arc, where he said that he was trying to put the Sonic and Amy cat and mouse game to an end. He literally said he was trying to put some closure to it, like he used the exact word closure. And I don't agree with that take. I think it's a very bad take. Let me just play the clip for context.
So here's the thing, did the Umbrella line actually make it to the final release, or is that people data mining and restoring it in mods? I haven't been able to get a straight answer on that.
It is. It's they dug it up. It's unused.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the thing with the Umbrella in Superstars throws me for a loop, because with the lines as they were, the whole goal with Amy's story in Frontiers was to bring it to some kind of end. Because this whole will they, won't they, cat and mouse that we're never going to actually get an answer on felt antagonistic, not necessarily intentionally, but this constantly dangling carrot without any real commitment one way or the other. It's like, let's just have them move on in some way, do the characters a service so that there's more to them than just the will they have kisses one day? Do something. And so part of it was Amy's resolve to share her love with the world, to not have her entire existence revolve around someone who's always running away from her. She has so much love to give. She has so much potential. Instead of focusing it on one person, give it to the world and see what a force she can be for good and change and all that. And Sonic, for his part, realizes that, she's not chasing anymore. We're just cool. We're friends now, and maybe that isn't what he wants anymore. But she's already made up her mind, so okay, just gotta roll with it. And the lines in the script were kind of testing those waters to see if that's what the team would accept, if that's where we could take things.
I think the biggest problem with Ian Flynn's take here is that he made it seem like Sonic and Amy's relationship was a bad thing. He was complaining about the fact that you're never really going to see Sonic and Amy get together officially, and that Amy's portrayal comes off as a bit antagonistic, which, I mean, I do kind of agree with depending on the game, but I don't think there's anything inherently wrong about a girl chasing a boy. Like in Sonic Rush or Sonic Heroes, for example, I do think Amy is very antagonistic. She's very violent about her obsession with Sonic. But in Sonic Adventure, her obsession is portrayed a little bit more healthier. It inspires her to become a better person so she can get Sonic's attention. But even without Sonic, she already has unique traits. She's a very empathetic character and she's willing to help others out, even if they're bad. In Adventure 1, despite Gamma being a robot, she still tries to reason with them, and that leads to them betraying Eggman. And without Amy's positive outlook on life, Shadow wouldn't have helped the good guys in Adventure 2. So it is a bit concerning that the person who's been put in charge to fix the Sonic franchise's storytelling doesn't really understand the dynamic that's going on. I also think it's weird that he kind of had the need to fix it. Like, Amy's had her obsession with Sonic toned down for over a decade now. You didn't need someone to go like, oh, now she's given up on Sonic. That didn't need to happen. Like in Sonic Forces, for example, her priority wasn't on Sonic because obviously there was a war going on and she was still into Sonic. Because classic Sonic was also in Sonic Forces, Amy commented on how dreamy it was to have two Sonics at once. So while that aspect of her wasn't focused on, it still wasn't gone, and I think that's fine. You can do that, you can focus on another aspect of her. I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I feel like Ian Flynn's personal beliefs might get in the way of Sonic's writing a bit. Like, I'm sensing like a hint of feminism here. And obviously there's nothing wrong with feminism, but I think it's getting to the point where he might be limiting himself from doing what he's supposed to be doing by interpreting things that are otherwise fine to be problematic. Now, I'm not gonna say that's true because he never really said that himself, but there is one moment in Sonic Frontiers where he puts a bit of like his leftist ideals into the story, into the script, and I'm just like, oof, that's not good. It's a question where Amy questions why the ancients believed in a god when they're so technologically advanced, which comes off as like this Reddit, science triumphs over religion, guys, L for religion. And look, I don't really care about what you believe in real life, but in Sonic's world, God is objectively real. Sonic has fought gods and demons. There are gems that defy science. The evil moon even acknowledges that some of Sonic's past enemies are gods. Amy is literally into tarot cards. I don't know why she's questioning this. If she genuinely believes in gods, why is science the reason to stop believing in them? Just because I invent a virtual reality, it doesn't mean that Light Gaia stops existing. Which is why, again, I'm theorizing, I'm not saying this is for certain, but I feel like Ian Flynn's changes to Amy is because of feminism, because, oh, she's obsessed with a boy and her entire personality revolves around a boy. Let's just get rid of that completely instead of expanding on other parts of her character. But I also think this shows a bit of a lack in understanding of what Sonic is as a franchise. Sonic is supposed to be this iconic mascot character like Mickey Mouse, like Felix the Cat, like Mario. To a certain extent, Sonic characters shouldn't develop. Now, I'm not saying they can't develop at all. Tails' character arc in Sonic Adventure is really good and necessary. It's the same thing with Shadow's arcs, they're important. But you know, in the same vein as like Mickey Mouse or even something like Scooby-Doo or Lupin the Third, these characters should have identifying traits that they keep for the rest of the series forever. If they're making a Sonic game in 2050, you know, I should still be able to go, that's Amy Rose, she is eternally obsessed with Sonic, but there are other traits of her that flesh her out that have developed in the last 57 years of her existence. Sonic is meant to be this timeless mascot character, but just a little bit more cooler. Like, there is a canon, but the canon is a little bit loose. You don't know where the Sonic characters live unless it's like Knuckles for like plot reasons. Tails will literally have a workshop whenever they want it for the story. Characters will develop off screen, but there'll be literally no attention brought to it. For example, Rouge starts off as a government agent in Sonic Adventure 2, but in Sonic 06 she's now a gun agent. This allows the characters to be flexible. In franchises like Mickey Mouse or Scooby-Doo, they always have to reboot. In fact, in Scooby-Doo, it's always a storyline where Daphne loves Fred, but Fred is too thick to realize it, and sometimes they do get together, so now we have to reboot the series so we can start the cycle again. And let's be real, if you were to apply some genres to the Sonic stories, romance wouldn't be one of them. Sonic and Amy's romance is never the focus of the story. You were never supposed to be invested in their relationship, or I guess their possible relationship. There was never really a will they, won't they situation. It was more of a they definitely won't. At least not for the period in their lives that we're exploring in the games. The perfect comparison of Sonic and Amy's relationship, though, is with Lupin the Third. Lupin has eternally been in this cat and mouse dynamic with Fujiko Mine for the entirety of the franchise, and it's never been a problem. It even covers the whole antagonistic problem that Ian Flynn felt, because Fujiko Mine is always backstabbing Lupin for her own personal gains. And here's the thing, as much as Amy chases Sonic and acts violent around him, I think he's kinda into it. Like in Sonic Unleashed, when Amy sees Sonic as a werehog and doesn't recognize him, he gets all upset. And at the end of Sonic and the Black Knight, they do confirm that they had a date plan, which was ruined because of the, Black Knight shenanigans. I'm pretty sure Sonic team even confirmed themselves that Sonic is just shy about romance. And in Lupin the Third, Lupin is head over heels for Fujiko, despite all the backstabbing. And at a surface level, it just seems like he's a terrible person. Why is he into this woman? But no, this is a romance on a different wavelength. Fujiko is 100% into Lupin. If you watched Peak Fiction, aka Mystery of Mamo, you would know that Fujiko actually really cares about Lupin. When she's given the chance to be immortal, her first thought is, well, Lupin has to come with me. She has this trust in Lupin where she believes he can do anything. No matter how much trouble she puts him in, he's gonna make it out alive for sure, and then he's gonna catch up to her. And Lupin's friends are always like, oh, why do you trust her? She's always trouble, but the fact is, that's just their love language. Again, I think this is something that's perfectly serviceable. If Ian Flynn wasn't a big fan of its execution, I still don't think it's something that you need to really scrap entirely. It's like the whole Sonic shouldn't have serious stories criticism. Instead of saying Sonic should scrap stories entirely, just tell them to make better stories. At the end of the day, this all comes down to Sonic Team, and it's kind of difficult to tell whether they're on board or not for this idea. I feel like most of the people who are involved in developing these characters are long gone, so it's pretty much up to the modern team interpreting their work to tell Ian Flynn what to do. I think it's absolutely funny though how Sonic Twitter started tearing apart Ian Flynn's criticism after the video was uploaded. Like I said, Sonic is a very vague franchise when it comes to its world building, and looking back on it, there aren't many stories in the Sonic franchise, and thanks to the meta era, there's even less of meaningful stories. So the fact that these guys can just pull out of their asses like these little analyses on Sonic and Amy's relationship is so real and raw. Sonic as a franchise does seem pretty simple from a surface level, but you kind of do need to be a high media literate to enjoy it. And when I mean high media literate, I mean you have to just pay attention. I'm not gonna lie, I do find it strange that an American writer is heading a Japanese video game franchise. And I guess not just an American writer, but an American writer that can't speak Japanese. I feel like these Sonic stories should be developed closely with Sonic Team, and when I mean closely with Sonic Team, I mean like physically there. If you can speak Japanese and you can develop these stories alongside Sonic Team, I feel like production would be a lot more efficient. Like, it is clear that modern Sonic Team understands Sonic and Amy's relationship enough, so I'm kind of surprised that they didn't prepare a lecture for Mr. Ian Flynn, but I guess he has been writing Sonic comics for like a billion years, so I guess he didn't really need it. I guess that settles it. It's not like Ian Flynn actually pitched that idea to Sonic Team, he just kind of put it in the script to test the waters. If he goes too far, I'm sure Sonic Team will put him back on the right path. Maybe they'll even make that lecture he needs. Alright, see you guys tomorrow, I guess. Bye.